Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Scorpio is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. These readings are totally free. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Scorpio, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we've got the universe. You're somebody with an awful lot of patience right now. I feel like you've been waiting for something for a long time. You know, it seems as if we have been, I don't know, I am reminded of Ripley when she's drifting for like 50 years through the universe, right? Before she's picked up by a salvage vessel. Right? And it's just like we've just been doing our thing. We've just been waiting. We've been doing the work. We've been just like, I just imagine she's like playing cards. She's like watching TV. She's like hanging out with the cat, thinking someday someone's going to find me, right? Someday this is going to happen. So I feel like you have right now been waiting for something for a long, long time. This card is also the card of materialization. Something is manifesting in your life right now. Okay, I feel like it's your dream. It's kind of like now's the time for it to come true. Yeah. So I wonder if the question that's been on your mind is when. That's kind of the big question mark in your life. When? Okay. Well, let's put this card into some context. I kind of feel like now. There's the Prince of Pentacles. That's a card of right now. Four of Cups. The Libra energy, the adjustment card. The Knight of Pentacles, and of course, your superpower card, the Death card, right? That is the card that rules the sign of Scorpio. So the time is now for you to claim your destiny, okay? I feel like your dream is coming true right now. Now it's time. It's kind of like, okay, put the cards away, pack up the cat. It's time to go. Here we have the Hierophant, another Taurus card. Both of these are Taurus energies. I would watch the Taurus reading if I were you. Here we have a Princess of Swords, a Two of Cups, and the Eight of Wands. Yeah, I feel like this is really, really good. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down right here with Jimbo, the Lizard King, right there on top. I can do anything. Except look at that card until the end of the reading. Because it will tie everything together and it will give us the confirmation we need at the end. Okay. If you have a prediction for that card, put it in the comments down below. Okay. Let's look around the room. We see a couple of major arcana energies, yeah? We see 1, 2, 3. Okay. It seems like this was a divine course correction for you that then left to a long period of kind of waiting and just doing the work. Just waiting and doing the work, right? Keeping yourself busy, not getting discouraged, not getting upset, not getting too anxious, just doing the work. Steady as she goes, right? And then, of course, this Death card is kind of representing that slow and steady evolution as well, but I feel like we're finally arriving here. Okay, so we see this horizontal pathway of major arcana energies. This is telling me that this is your destiny, that this is a path that you are meant to be on, even if back here with this Libra energy, because we've been waiting for the results for so long, we're starting to think, did I make the right decision? Okay, the fact that we've got your power card here in the future position, that's telling me, yeah, you've made the right decision, that you have aimed your ship at your true self, and you're on course, okay? Steady as she goes, and you're about to arrive. We have another major arcana energy over here, which is the Hierophant. right, as your general energy. I feel that you have gained a lot on this journey, even though we felt like it's just been a long time of me doing the same thing over and over and over again. Yeah, but there is a wisdom that has grown in you. And I feel like that is something that had to take time to grow and to evolve, right? It wasn't something that could happen overnight. Yeah. And anyway, on top of that, we've got some fire, we got some water, we got some air, yeah, we got our earth cards. So pretty balanced, right? We've got the 4 majors and we got the rest of a nice balance of elemental energies. But the energy we have here, to start in the very middle, is this long wait where you've been showing up every day. You've been grinding away at life. You've been chiseling away at something. Just showing up on time, putting in the work without complaints, without deviation, really, like you're a very reliable person. You've been, it's kind of like you've been showing up every single day doing the work that you're intending to do, even without anybody kind of like holding you to it. It's by virtue of your own like commitment, you know? And I think your own faith, your own trust in the universe. I feel like it may have even felt lonely. I kind of see like this is somebody who's showing up in a kind of isolated place where it feels like the universe is wide open and vast and there's nothing out here for miles. Here you are showing up every day. This combination tells me that you do the right thing even when nobody's around to see it. That you do what you're supposed to do. You keep the faith. You keep the fire burning even when nobody's around. No one's going to notice if you goof off. No one's going to notice if you kick your feet up and start reading comic books on the job. But you do the job the right way, right? And I feel like this is not going unnoticed. I feel like the universe, your true self, can see you and your virtue. And I think it's about to come true. I think everything is crystallized. The results of all of your labor, the fruits of all of your labor are really about to pay off now. Okay. In the recent past, we've got the Libra energy. I don't think it was so recent. Okay. I feel like this is kind of the last thing you remember. Last thing I remember was choosing to get into this vessel and sail on this trip. And I feel like I've been here for I don't know how long, you know, kind of lose track of time, right? I kind of feel like this is that work where you do sort of lose track of time. You know, and maybe that really is the significant thing here, is that this is something that you can immerse yourself in so deeply that you're in this flow state and you don't realize the passage of time. You don't realize how long you've been here doing this day in and day out, right? This was that higher wisdom and discernment. This was a course correction from the universe. I feel like this was perhaps a contract. This was maybe a partnership or an agreement that we had to, it's like we had to sign up. You know, you had to like sign the papers to get on the spaceship to go on this very long journey. So to me, it feels like a commitment. It feels like we have some sort of, we signed up for this, right? We made the choice. Spirit has positioned us in life to get on this particular path, and you accepted the assignment. You answered the call, right? And I feel like you, well, sometimes, like I said, it seems like we've been here so long that we might even be wondering, like, did I do the right thing? And then it's like, maybe that's just a fleeting question that comes to our mind every once in a while, but I still feel like the dominant feeling in your life right now is, okay, when? Right? When is it going to pay off? Because this was something that we may have had to invest in. This is kind of like, you know, the scales. You're weighing valuables in a scale, right? It's like, okay, you put in this much effort now and you get this much back, but, you know, you're kind of like, okay, when am I going to get compensated for all this work? For what I've been building? When am I going to really have something to show for it? When am I going to get to enjoy it? When am I going to get to just be there with it and feel it and feel good? In other words, when is the love going to kick in? It's like the universe promised you, okay, you do these certain things, you're going to get certain results. And so you said, all right, here I go. I'm going to show up every day. When is it time for me to reap the rewards? When do I get the Two of Cups? When do I get the love? Maybe this is self-work, spiritual development, or evolution. Well, maybe this is a job or a career or some sort of an art form or something else that you've been building in your life. Okay? It's kind of like you've been building this for so long. When do you get to enjoy it? with a Four of Cups underneath the surface, there's part of you that almost resigned yourself to feel like, I'm never going to get to enjoy it. I'm just going to have to just do this work now for perpetually, right? It's almost an energy that says, I've stopped believing in the dream here. Now I'm just doing the work because that's where I am. And that's what I'm doing, so it's easier to just keep doing it, right? It's kind of inertia, momentum, right? So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, but I've almost given up hope that there's going to be any reward. Now it just becomes something I do because, or out of habit maybe, right? And sometimes we need that attitude. Sometimes we need to fortify our heart a little bit with this Four of Cups so that we don't get anxious and we don't get sort of in a frenzy when we want something so bad that we cannot endure the pathway to get there, you know? That we might be too attached to the result of something that, you know, we can't, you know, if it doesn't happen in 5 minutes, we're going to be upset and we're going to be frantic and we're going to be kind of on to the next thing, right? So we may need a little bit of this card, yeah. But if things stay this way for a very long time, we may forget that there was even a goal here. We may forget that there's even supposed to be a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, you know? And incidentally, that's what I feel is happening here with the Eight of Wands. I feel like this is the fireworks at the end. This is the grand finale for something. I think your dream is coming true. I think you're finding the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, all right? The Knight of Pentacles at the top here is looking at the future, finding the vision of the future. The idea is that now we sort of like, I don't know, it's like we woke up one morning and we said, okay, you know what? I've been doing this day in and day out for years now. I want some sort of, let me get my binoculars or my spyglass and let me look with my third eye, you know, and what is that? The spyglass, right? The spyglass up to your third eye, and let's look into the future. And what do I see? The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow here? And if you look at this card, you can see the mountain, right? But can you see the summit of the mountain? Can you see the goal, right? I feel like this is the card that's saying, maybe I don't even see that I'm getting closer to my destination. Maybe this is, you know, maybe there's no end in sight to this, right? And so that's enough to really get us like thinking, yeah. And I feel that's kind of what we're doing with the princess over here. This is like we're starting to get a little worried about all this. But the saving grace is the death card in the future position. Okay. And the death card, well, you know what? I got something else to say about these two. I feel like in some ways we have to be very clear about what our expectations are. Because if we cannot see the summit of the mountain, maybe the goal is not clearly defined. Maybe it's kind of like your boss said, yeah, when you're done, you can have all your money, right? But it's like, okay, well, hang on. Well, no, don't go anywhere. Sit your butt down. What does being done mean? How do we define that? Let's get really clear. Let's get technical. Let's get legal about it, right? Let's write it down. Exactly what we mean. Let's put it on paper. We'll both sign it. You know, what does being done mean? What is the definition of the goal here? How do we define that, right? And maybe with the death card, this is us understanding that this doesn't have to be a never-ending, open-ended quest. Like there has to be some clearly defined goal that says, okay, when you get to this point, and this is what it's going to look like, this is what it's going to be, this is how we define it, then you're done, and that's it. That's your success. That's your, you know, that's your visible sign of success. That's the summit that you can see, rather than the summit you can't see. Because it's kind of like, before we go climbing this mountain, I got to know how high it is. I got to know like what the elevation is. I got to know that there's an end. What does it look like up there? What supplies do I need? Like, how do I prepare if I don't know exactly where I'm going? I won't know what supplies to bring, right? This isn't like this isn't a game show, you know. We've got to have those clearly defined goals so that we can prepare for the journey. Yeah. And now the death card to me is kind of a termination of things. It's kind of saying that there is an end. You know? There is an end. And I think the end of this is, in a way, I feel like it's you, like you're coming back around to yourself again. Yeah. How to formulate what I mean here? What I mean, it feels, for one, that we are becoming very clear with ourselves about what our goals are and what the termination of this is going to be. Okay. And I think this is also a card that is recognizing the long-term evolution of something. Okay, and really the proximity to the Two of Cups. The longer the journey, the greater it's going to feel when we arrive at that summit or at that goal, right? The Knight of Pentacles, of course, is the one that's trying to climb the mountain. Trying to understand how to climb the mountain. Okay, and this might be a physical thing for you. This might have something to do with your health goals. It might be financial goals or something like this, right? We've got to clearly define the goals so we know when it's going to terminate. When we know when this hard work, repetition, it's kind of like saying, you know, congratulations, you're born on Earth into a human society. Now, get to work. Okay, but doing what and for how long? You know, okay, till you're 65 or 75 or 105 or whatever it's going to be. But at least there's a point where we know it's going to end. You know, with any situation, if it's open-ended, if there's no clearly defined time frame or objective, then it can go on forever, and we'll never have the sort of satisfaction of being done with something. You know, and the death card implies that some things have run their course and they need to be let go of, that we need to put things to an end. Maybe this is us calling an audible and saying, you know what, there's no visible summit here. I'm done. I'm done, right? I feel that this is a reading that's telling you that your dreams are coming true. Okay, that there is an endpoint to the path that you're on right now, where you're going to experience the love here. Okay? But I think that we have to choose. We have to choose when to initiate that kind of landing sequence. We have to choose when to, when to start winding things down, when to kick into the kind of end game thing. All right? And you have to trust your true self on this one. Yeah. Now, in the path of the serpent, we got the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is an inner wisdom. Okay? It's wisdom from your true self. I think it maybe is the wisdom to know when to end something. Know when to kind of say, like, yeah, look, you know what? My dream is here right now, and I need to start enjoying that dream. I need to start living this life. Okay? I feel like this path has led you to your true self. Okay? And that true self, I believe, is one of the ability to appreciate all experience, but the ability to let go of an obligation. I almost feel like you're retiring or something like this, right? It feels like there's this big transition in your life that's been building up for a long time. So it feels like we're approaching some kind of a major life transition, a retirement or something along these lines. And it's kind of like, not that we get to choose when that takes place, but we kind of, in a way, it's up to us how we define the success in our life. How do we envision our success? Okay. So that's something that is up to us. And maybe it's up to you when you retire, too, and to some degree, okay? All of our situations are different. And I'm almost wondering, when are we going to start living this dream of ours? Anyway, a strange feeling with this, because I feel that there's a big, rite of passage for you. Yeah. Now the Hierophant, maybe that's what we're talking about here. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. The readings are totally free. Okay. The Hierophant is the wise one, right? The Hierophant is kind of the one who knows like what is sacred. Yeah. And so what if we're kind of realizing what is more important to us right now? What is the dream that we really want to live? I almost wonder if you're sacrificing the commitment to this current path, or it almost feels like a work-life balance in a way. Yeah. That maybe we've been on this particular path for a long, long time, and now we're finally saying, you know what? Through doing this for so many years, I've learned what's important to me. And I know what dream I want to dream, what dream I want to live. I know who I am now. I've discovered myself on this path. It's in this, let's say, this long and lonely quest of life, traveling in that spaceship for however many years we've been on it. You've come to know a great deal about yourself. You've grown, you've matured in wisdom. You've become a sage. And the sage is able to say, like, this is not important to me anymore, but these other things are. So I feel like there's this big kind of transition in life for you. Yeah. And I feel like it is we see it's really a nice transition. But the Hierophant seems to be the culmination of all of this. Everything that we talked about here has led to an increase and evolution of your soul, a closer alignment with your true self that has manifested as wisdom in your life. That wisdom that says, this is what is sacred to me. I know what is sacred to me now, and I know how I want to live my life. No more never-ending quest here, right? It's time for things that you determine for you, according to what you have discovered about yourself. On this journey, you've been stripped down to your bare bones. You know what you're made of. You know who you are. You know why you're here. And that wisdom now is allowing you to go this way. First of all, intellectual curiosity, your mind, your heart, your spirit. Right? So this path here, the self-knowledge, now the wisdom, you're going to live life with more curiosity. Your relationships, you're going to be exploring new relationships, making new connections. The Princess of Swords in the position of the environment, you love learning about other people. You want to get to know new people, do new things. You're out here in the environment as a student. So there's a renewal, there's almost a return to a youth, an eternal youth here. Saying, I'm done with this steady as she goes kind of thing. I need to define my goal and get done with it because I know what's important to me now. And first of all, relationships, curiosity in your interpersonal pathways and connections with other people. Learning about others, learning about new subjects. You're going to take a class. You're going to learn a new language, whatever it is. The Two of Cups. No longer are we going to have this kind of suspended joy. Now we're going after love. The Hierophant is saying, I know what's important to me. Curiosity, interpersonal connections, meeting new people, learning new things, and loving. Having love as the superglue that holds everything together. This is the life we're leading now. This is what's important to us. Knowing what brings more love and abundance into our life and pursuing those things. Finding ways to manifest more deeper bonds with ourself, with the world, with spirit. This is love. This is divine love, self-love, romantic love, and platonic love. We want all of it. This is the life we're leading now. Yeah. And then, of course, with our Eight of Wands at the end, you're being led by your curiosity, your heart, and your will, your excitement, your spirit, your impulse, whatever interests you, whatever excites you, that's the pathway I'm going to go down. I'm not just going to be here grinding away, nose to the grindstone, building the same thing, the never-ending building. It's like I'm sure there's a myth about that, right? About someone who's building a palace. I think it might be a Hindu myth. Someone who's building a palace or something, and it's just like, okay, make it bigger. Okay, I'm going to keep making it bigger. Am I done? No, you're not done. I want to build it a little bit bigger. Building it bigger, bigger, bigger. It's the never-ending story. It's the never-ending quest, the never-ending building of the palace, right, for the king or whatever. And we're kind of saying, you know what? I'm choosing to be done with that particular thing because I want a life that is now fresh and vibrant, and I want to pursue my curiosity, my love, and my interests. This to me, this is, we say retirement, but this is life, man. This is what it should be. This is what it should be. Right? If there's any fear, it's just a fear that we don't have enough love in our life. And the final outcome here is that you're being prompted by your spirit. In whichever direction you move in life, you're moving in that direction because you're prompted by spirit. That's the gold at the end of the rainbow. That's the pot of gold. That's the dream that comes true. Yeah. Let's look at the mystery card. Anyway, I want a 6 of Cups. Yeah. Let's see what we have. The Hanged Man. The Hanged Man, everything requires a sacrifice, right? Everything requires a sacrifice. This path requires a sacrifice of most of this stuff. This stuff over here requires a sacrifice of this stuff. It's not in direct either or, black or white kind of choices. It's not either or. They're not mutually exclusive. But it requires a sacrifice. We want more. We want to live a life that is more sacred, more geared toward curiosity, love, and excitement. We're going to have to sacrifice a little bit of this grinding away at stuff, right? This never-ending quest, this building of whatever, right? The career, let's say. Maybe this is our personal life. This is our career. In your true self, you've realized this thing has worn you down to the bone. And you're saying, enough is enough. I want a little more of this, so I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of this to have more of this. Yeah, me too. Because the alternative is that we sacrifice love and our curiosity. We sacrifice our relationships. We sacrifice our excitement and our will and our curiosity and all that stuff for the sake of whatever we are building, whatever we've been hired to build. Because it will never be enough, right? It's the king will keep saying, no, build it higher. Build it higher, build it higher, build it higher. It'll always be more, more, more. We've got to sacrifice something for the sake of what is really sacred to us. Now let's do an extended reading, okay? We're going to do an I Ching hexagram. We're going to do some oracle cards. There's a link up top. There's a link down below. New readings for Scorpio, Wednesday and Saturday. Be sure to watch both readings. If you want to watch these readings at the website, go to doveandserpenttarot.com. You can also find me on Patreon. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.